Benjamin Donnie Ritchie, a chronicle of justice and despair. Benjamin Donnie Ritchie stands condemned. Convicted of the murder of Officer William Toney, he received the death sentence on October 15, 2002. His appeals have been exhausted. Each attempt to overturn the verdict met with failure. The state of Indiana has set his execution date for May 20, 2025. This is the story of a life marked by tragedy, violence, and the inexorable march toward a final judgment. His case has been featured in a documentary series, further amplifying the scrutiny surrounding his fate. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Born on May 30, 1980, Ritchie's entry into the world was fraught with adversity. His biological father remains unknown, a shadow in his origin. His mother battled substance abuse throughout her pregnancy, a grim foreshadowing of the struggles to come. Before his third birthday, she abandoned him, leaving him adrift in a world he barely understood. The man she married also abandoned him upon learning Ritchie was not his son. Adoption brought a new name, but not a new beginning. Behavioral and academic challenges plagued his school years. He underwent counseling and treatment, seeking solace from the turmoil within. Diagnoses of bipolar disorder and cognitive impairments offered explanations, but no easy solutions. In 1998, a burglary conviction led to probation, a first step into the criminal justice system. September 29, 2000 marked a turning point, a descent into irreversible darkness. Ritchie, along with accomplices, stole a van from a gas station. Officer Matthew Hickey initiated a police pursuit. Officer William Toney joined a chase, unaware of the deadly confrontation that awaited. The van came to a halt, and Ritchie fled on foot, desperation fueling his escape. In a moment of brutal finality, Ritchie turned and fired 4 shots at Officer Toney. The officer fell, mortally wounded, his life extinguished in the line of duty. Officer Toney was a husband, a father, a son, a member of his community. Ritchie was apprehended the following day at a friend's home, his flight from justice cut short. Ritchie faced a litany of charges, including the murder of Officer Toney and auto theft. The prosecution sought the ultimate penalty, death. A gag order was imposed, silencing public discourse on the sensitive case. Michael Greer, an accomplice, entered a plea bargain and testified against Ritchie. Michael Moody was convicted of auto theft, a lesser charge in the shadow of murder. The defense argued against the death penalty, citing the Supreme Court's decision in Ring v. Arizona. They challenged the constitutionality of Indiana's death penalty statutes. The judge ruled against the defense, upholding the state's laws. Jury selection commenced, and the trial began, the weight of justice hanging heavy in the air. On August 10, 2002, the jury delivered its verdict, guilty. The defense pleaded for leniency, emphasizing Ritchie's mental state and troubled upbringing. They argued that his circumstances mitigated his culpability. On August 14, 2002, the jury recommended the death penalty, sealing Ritchie's fate. Judge Patricia Gifford formally sentenced Ritchie to death on October 15, 2002. Officer Toney's widow delivered a victim impact statement, her words echoing the profound loss and enduring pain. Ritchie was incarcerated at Indiana State Prison, a place of stark confinement. He became another number on death row, awaiting the executioner's call. During his incarceration, he developed a relationship with a woman from Sweden, a connection forged across continents and through prison walls. In 2004, the Indiana Supreme Court rejected Ritchie's direct appeal, upholding the conviction and sentence. A second appeal in 2007 was also rejected, the court citing ineffective legal representation as the basis for its decision. The U.S. Supreme Court dismissed Ritchie's final appeal in 2017, closing the last avenue for legal recourse. The legal machinery had run its course, leaving Ritchie with nowhere left to turn. The Indiana Attorney General moved to schedule an execution date, setting the stage for the final act. Arguments were raised regarding Ritchie's legal representation and mental health, desperate attempts to stay the inevitable. Officer Toney's widow voiced her unwavering support for the execution, seeking closure and justice for her late husband. The execution of Joseph Corcoran ended Indiana's moratorium on capital punishment. paving the way for Ritchie's execution. The Indiana Supreme Court rejected Ritchie's motion for post-conviction relief, denying him any further reprieve. The execution date was set, May 20th, 2025. A dissenting opinion was issued, questioning Ritchie's mental state and the adequacy of his legal representation, a final lament in the face of impending death. Officer Toney's funeral drew a massive outpouring of community support, a testament to his life and service. Police officers involved in the investigation were commended for their dedication and professionalism. Fundraising efforts were launched to support Officer Toney's children, ensuring their future in the absence of their father. Ritchie's story was featured in the Inside Death Row documentary, bringing his case to a wider audience. Officer Toney's widow remarried, finding solace and companionship after her tragic loss. She remains a vocal advocate for capital punishment, believing in its necessity for justice. An annual cornhole tournament is held in Officer Toney's memory, a celebration of his life and a reminder of the sacrifice he made. Ritchie and two accomplices stole a van from a gas station in Beech Grove, setting in motion a chain of events that would lead to tragedy. The theft was reported, and police officers filed a stolen vehicle report, initiating the investigation. Later that night, a patrol officer recognized the stolen van and initiated a pursuit, escalating the situation. After a brief chase, the van stopped in a yard, and Ritchie and another individual fled on foot, attempting to evade capture. Officer Toney pursued Ritchie, closing in on the fleeing suspect. Ritchie turned and fired 4 shots at Officer Toney, ending his life at the scene. The state sought the death penalty, citing 2 aggravating factors. Ritchie was on probation for a 1998 burglary conviction, and Officer Toney was acting in the course of his duties. In 2002, a jury convicted Ritchie of murder, along with other criminal offenses, and the trial court imposed the jury's recommended death sentence. Ritchie challenged his convictions and sentence on direct appeal, seeking to overturn the verdict. The Indiana Supreme Court rejected all his claims and affirmed the lower court's decision. A petition for rehearing was denied in August 2004, and the Supreme Court of the United States denied certiorari in 2005. Ritchie then sought post-conviction relief, which the Marion Superior Court granted in part and denied in part, leading to further appeals. Ritchie appealed the Marion Superior Court's decision, continuing his legal battle. The Indiana Supreme Court found that Ritchie had waived 3 of his post-conviction claims and addressed his remaining issues, ultimately affirming the post-conviction court on each issue and later denying rehearing. In July 2008, Ritchie initiated federal habeas corpus review in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Indiana, seeking federal intervention. The district court denied habeas relief and later denied Ritchie's request for a certificate of appealability, further limiting his options. Ritchie petitioned the Seventh Circuit for a certificate of appealability, which the court denied, upholding the lower court's decision. The Seventh Circuit also denied Ritchie's request for rehearing en banc, exhausting his appeals within that circuit. The U.S. Supreme Court denied certiorari in April 2017, marking the end of Ritchie's legal challenges at the federal level.